There's a deep longing inside many of us, the hope that one day our parents will change, that they'll see us, they'll hear us, they'll love us the way that we always needed. But what if the greatest act of healing isn't waiting for them to become someone else, but instead freeing ourselves from that expectation? We're talking about acceptance, breaking cycles, and stepping into the life we were meant to live, not by changing our parents, but by choosing to heal ourselves. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to another episode with Therapy with Josh. Today we're going to speak about parents. Now, there does come a moment in life when we have to face the truth, and that can be both painful and freeing, which is that our parents are who they are. And this has caused so much pain and so much trauma for everybody. And I just want to speak about this in a bit more depth. Some parents will never change, and we kind of sit there and we are waiting for them to change, and we're waiting for them to accept us. This is not because they don't love us, it's just that they might not be able to fully accept. What we need to realize with parents is that many of them were just never taught to sit with their emotions, especially when it comes to their generation. They were never given the space to heal. They've moved through life kind of carrying their own burdens. They're unaware of the weight that they have placed on us because of that. And it's not our responsibility to fix them. And it never was. We have to be able to free ourselves from this and stop expecting something from our parents that we're never really going to get. This is the moment that we stop waiting for them to become the perfect parent in our eyes and start becoming the person that we need to progress further in our lives. When it comes to parents, they hold on to what's familiar, to what they've grown up with, even when it hurts them. Change is terrifying for them, especially for them who have spent their entire lives surviving instead of growing. Now, the brain is clinging onto what is known as cognitive rigidity, which is the mind's resistance to change. And there are a lot of studies out there that have shown that as we age, the pathways in our brain become more set, making deep kind of personal transformations more difficult. And this would explain why parents are trapped in their own ways. They repeat the same behaviors and they are unable to see the harm that it can cause for people around them. If love for them was discipline, then some of these parents might not even know how to give warmth. Whereas if survival was their only focus, given the environment that they lived in, growing up as a child, then they won't know how to nurture. And if the parents, for example, never gave them space to express their pain, they might not know how to hold ours. Understanding this doesn't completely erase the pain, but it does offer something a lot more powerful, which is clarity. Their inability to change was never about our worth. We're always worthy of love, even if they didn't know how to give it. So many of us have grown up believing that if we were just good enough or just obedient enough or successful enough, then maybe we would have loved the way that we needed. Now, we shape ourselves into versions of who they might accept. We shrink, we silence parts of ourselves, we carry their wounds as our own. No matter how much that we bend as children, might never be enough to change somebody who doesn't want to change themselves. No amount of perfection can rewrite their past. No amount of effort can turn somebody into a version of themselves that they're just not ready to become. So generations of our family before us would have carried this unspoken pain, unspoken trauma, and this is called generational trauma, which I highly suggest just popping into Google and having a look. And this trauma is passed down like an heirloom. All the trauma, all the silence, all the fear, they were handed down from grandmas and granddads to your parents, then to us, and over again. But that cycle doesn't have to continue. We have to figure out ways in which we can stop this generational trauma to the best of our ability so that it doesn't get passed on to the next generation. There have been studies where it reveals that trauma can be inherited. It embeds ourselves into like our fabric, into our human self, into our being. But those same studies have also shown something just as powerful, that healing can be passed down as well. So when we choose to live differently, to love differently, and to create homes where emotions are honored and voices are heard, we can start to reshape our future. This chain can be broken, and it just starts with us taking them steps to repair and to pass down to our children. We have to stop waiting for these apologies that never came, and for this expectation of what we're waiting our parents to give us. We have to stop trying to fix what was never ours to repair in the first place. The past is behind us, and the future is definitely ours to build. But the greatest gift, in my experience, that we can give our parents is acceptance. Not their harmful behaviors, but of the reality that they may just never change. This is not about excusing their past by all means. It's just about freeing ourselves from the grips that our parents gave us in order for us to develop and continue and to grow in a better environment. Letting go doesn't mean that we have to completely forget it, nor does it mean that we have to pretend that it didn't hurt. It just means that we're choosing peace over resentment, and that we're choosing to live fully rather than waiting for our parents to give us permission. You're not broken for what you liked. You're not unworthy because of what you didn't receive from your parents. That was your path that you were given, and somebody else's path might be completely different. Even when we compare our past to other people's past, that can sometimes put us down. But you've got to remember that you are whole, even with the scars. And the scars that you do get are proof of your survival. They're proof of resilience, and proof that even when life gave you less than what you deserved, we found a way to keep going, and we found a way to keep smashing our life and making sure that we didn't have that same path that our parents lived. Healing doesn't just happen in the moment. We can't just wake up and go, oh, I'm feeling completely healed. There are so many ways in which we need to start healing, and healing is different for everybody. Some people will start therapy. Some people will be at their GP. Some people will want antidepressants. There's such a list of safe spaces and ways in which each individual person will need to start that healing journey. It happens in very small choices and the daily decisions that we show up for ourselves. We have to surround ourselves with people who we see. We have to create love that we've always needed by being in situations where we feel loved. And some days are going to be easier than others. Some days are going to be a lot more painful. Some days we're not even going to want to wake up out of bed. Some days we're going to get phone calls from people like, why haven't you responded to my text? Or why haven't you done this? And the list goes on, which then just puts us into a space of anger and depression. And we think this is all from this trauma that we've had, but we need to realize that this is our healing journey, and that it could take a year, it could take 2 years. But as long as you're on that path, you're on the right step. Guarantee you that some days will be easier than others, and some wounds will take a lot longer to fade, and some wounds will never fade. And I'll tell you that for free. I still have wounds which are so embedded into my head. Do I let them surface? Do I let them take over my life now? No, because it's taken me, I'd say, a good 10 years of intermittent therapy to be able to put these thoughts so far into my subconscious that I can just relax. But what I've realized is that every step forward has been a step towards freedom. And this is a journey which I'm still continuing every single day. So then the next question is, who are the cycle breakers? Who stops it? It's you, it's me, and it's everyone who takes a moment in their own time and says, I'm ready for my journey. And we need to be the ones who refuse to pass down what was given to us, or what we experienced growing up with these parents and how painful we are, because Kids are clever. We can be so angry, and there can be triggers which we'll have during the day with kids, and that energy instantly goes onto that child, and then bang, it's embedded. It's embedded into them. The ones who choose to parent ourselves with the love we never received are the ones who decide that our future will not be shaped by our past. We've got this. It's about these little steps. So there's no need to kind of wait for the past to change before we take that step into the future. The love we crave for them, we can now give ourselves. The home we longed for, we can now create. Thank you for choosing to listen and to reflect and just to grow. I know healing, it's not easy. It's really not. It's an ongoing journey that is a full-time job within itself. But you've got to realize that every step that you take towards understanding yourself and towards breaking that cycle of all the stuff that you went through is a step towards your freedom. Now, please, if this has resonated with you, please do share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who may still be carrying the weight of expectations and for longing and waiting for that change. Please send it out. As long as I can help just one person put a smile on the face, then I'll be a happy boy. And as you go forward, I want you to remember this, that you are enough, not because of what you do and not because of who improves you, but simply because you exist. Exactly how you are, in all your imperfections, all your beauties, all your strengths. You are enough, and you always have been. So give yourself a smile in that mirror, and until next time, take care of yourself, because you deserve it.